Romance?
Romance in video games, of which there's not a lot of.
Not a lot. Yeah. I can only think of a couple of games that even have romance in it.
Well, obviously, you know, you got your BioWare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
BioWare.
You know, you got Mass Effect 1 and 2. Dragon Age 1 and 2. I think in, you know, the RPGs, as they are getting bigger and better, to actively not have a romance is doing a disservice.
Here's the thing. Being near you makes me crazy. But I can't imagine being without you. Not ever. I don't know how to say this another way. I want to spend the night with you, here, in the camp.
Other RPGs, and of course the first thing that comes to my mind is Bethesda. You got Elder Scrolls and Fallout and all that, and the only thing even remotely resembling romance in those is to pay a hooker to sleep with. Which I don't really think of as romance.
I was gonna say, at that angle, then GTA has romance in it too.
And then you get extra points for killing her and taking your money back.
That's right. Oh, okay. Thanks for reminding me. GTA. In GTA 3, you could have girlfriends.
Really?
Yeah, you could. You had to get.
We were too busy getting tanks.
I was too busy running over old ladies in the street.
You could have girlfriends. I think each of the major cities had at least one, and there was like a couple.
So you could have girlfriends, plural.
Yes.
Oh god.
Literally.
I don't really qualify that as romance either.
No.
But
Oh, GTA 4, you can have girlfriends too. But
once again, plural.
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 You can actually, in GTA 4, you can actually go online to an internet dating site to go out with a girlfriend.
Wow, that's special.
Yeah.
Could you have? I mean, does it count as a romance if it's built into the storyline, but you don't really have any control over it?
Well, I mean, you know, even for the ones where it's just built in, I mean, arguably your older games where there wasn't as much of the open world option, that's kind of, if a romantic line was put in there, it was built in and it was there. I mean, the older Final Fantasies, it's built in, you really can't get around that because they're not, you know, leaving out anything new and everything more open world. It was kind of, you know,
built into the story.
yeah, exactly. You
But
know,
the romances did progress the story. Though.
yeah, and they weren't just, you know, this random like, oh, look at the together. What? You know?
Well, look at the kissing.
They weren't like, you know, Star Wars, I am a boy, you are a girl, let's have babies.
Yeah, or
Oh, wait a minute, we're brother and sister.
that's right. Okay. Yeah, it's not the old like. It was like even like the old like, you know, like the end like was it like Zelda or not Zelda 2, Adventures of Link, since it wasn't Zelda that in time. Looking at the end of the game, oh look, you rescued Zelda, they live happily ever after, and you're like,
Actually, you know, you bring up a really great point, Liz. Do you think because, you know, in the earlier gaming times, because we were so limited by technology, why romances had never popped up before? Maybe developers wanted to, but they were just limited.
Yeah, maybe the whole point behind going to all of these castles is Mario. To finally get Peach was he was trying to woo her.
and she's just playing hard to get at the end.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Maybe she's just playing hard to get the entire time.
oh my, you rescued us happily ever after, credits roll, and then you're back in World 1!
Yeah.
You have to go find her again!
So maybe it's
Dying woman, what is with you?
maybe it's a metaphor for the constant hoops a man has to jump through to finally win over a woman's heart.
Okay. Here's a great question. Are there any games out there that y'all think would be enhanced by the presence of a romance? Of just an extra little sub. Wow. You think the Fallout games?
Well, not just the Fallout games, the Elder Scrolls games too.
I
Skyrim's just now coming out, and I'm kind of hoping that at least there's something, at least the option maybe, to have a romance. Whether or not you have to, or whether or not you can even, it's like readily available. I just like the option.
now There was an option in Morrowind to have a romance, but only if you were a guy.
I think there was something vaguely resembling a romance between your male character and Almalexia in the Tribunal expansion pack. But it turned into something
It
else
turned into crazy
entirely.
stalker chick. That's
Yeah,
what
it turned into crazy stalker goddess.
Fear not. I will tell the tale myself when this is done. I will tell my people how with your dying breath you proclaimed your devotion to me, the one true God.
And then you're kind of like, yeah, no, I think I'm going to not and kill you. Bye-bye, I want your sword.
Oblivion. No romance whatsoever.
None.
None.
I think you could pay someone to sleep with you, and that was about it. If that. I'm not even sure if you could do that, or if I'm getting it mixed up with Fallout.
Aha! Thought of another game. Fable. It's almost masturbatory because you have to initiate the romance.
So it's kind of like The Sims in that regard.
Yeah.
You're creating your sim pornography.
You basically have the choice to create a romance or not, but if you create it, you basically have to maintain it. And when I say maintain it, I literally mean maintain it. You have to give your spouse gifts.
So it is like a sim.
Children
It's
gifts.
exactly
Yeah,
like
so
a
it's
sim.
like
And that was the great thing about BioWare is that you wouldn't have to give gifts to your romance
You could
partner.
if you wanted
You could,
to.
yeah. You had the option to, but
But
I
it
mean,
wasn't
in like
required.
Dragon Age, they would give you gifts.
yeah.
Well, what I'm hearing from you guys saying is it's working in Dragon Ages. It's a more balanced thing.
Yeah.
You can contribute, but the
You can
characters
contribute. The
actually
character is
contribute
integrated
yes, off of
in
how
you
you
as
contribute.
well.
So, you know,
So like if you're nice to a character, then they'll start getting interested in you. And then if you start reciprocating that, then it'll grow off of that. And you can give them gifts and then they'll start to give you gifts to show that they like you. And it's wonderful. And the dialogue makes those romances come alive.
Before we go, have I told you that I love you? I did. Well, it won't kill you to hear it again, will it? See? Was that so hard?
You have a crush on all of these BioWare characters, don't you? I gotta
Because
say.
they are so well developed. They really are. Each and every one of those characters has a backstory, and each and every one of those characters is someone that you can relate to. What, isn't that the basis for a good romance? It's just
To
to
be able
have
to relate to them?
Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah.
To be able to talk about things with them.
It's the advantage the newer games have now is to be able to build
Yes,
that depth into it. Because,
yes.
you know, like you mentioned, what they did, the romances did exist in older games, but because they didn't have the open world options as much, it was a little more, you just had to accept this is what it is.
And you were rescuing the princess from her tower.
You know,
Deal with it.
in terms of within their stories, they're good. They fit with it. The characters are developed in it. But it's at the same time when you look at that, it's like you have no choice. I mean, you know, I've run through Final Fantasy VII so many times and been like, could there be an option for me to just go like, you know, punch somebody in the face, please? Or that would be just because it would just be funny. Because you want, you know, and just because it would be something to expand the way the characters interact.
I remember with the date.
The date, how you interact with the characters and respond to questions affects who you go on the date with.
With Eris, it didn't matter how you responded to her, as long as you responded to her, you go on the date with Eris. However, in order to get someone else, you can't do anything with Eris. And when I say anything, she can't be in your party once.
No, that would explain why, because I was like, oh, you're gonna die later, so I'm just gonna not put you in my party. But I definitely did it with a date with Barrett one time.
You have to be mean to Eris, Tifa, and Yuffie in order to get Barrett on that date.
I got Barrett on that date.
That is some hardcore
And
gaming
Red
right
13.
there. We should talk about Final Fantasy X. Because I think that that's the Final Fantasy that has that is most well known for its romance.
So, and like in terms of romance, they really made that like, you know, I mention 8 a lot because that was kind of the first big one where romance was the center, but 10 really developed the idea of making it a part of the characters and the interactions between them.
But again, it comes down to choice. There is no choice.
Yeah, you will develop that in the game. In game, the main characters will develop that relationship regardless of what decisions you make. What made the romance in 10 good is they had these rich characters that even though you didn't have any options, they developed them.
Yes.
They really developed both characters, so you saw both sides. They were whole people. It wasn't just, you know, they had their faults, they had their strengths, weaknesses.
I think the more games need romance in it, if for no other reason than the fact that it emotionally invests the player in the plot, in the characters that you're playing with.
Couldn't have said it better than that. Start being
Exactly.
adventurous, game developers. Seriously.
It doesn't have to be
Bethesda, I'm
shooting.
talking to you. Put romance in your RPGs now.
It doesn't just have to be about blowing up crap or shooting, you know, monsters
Although,
in the head.
you know, sneaking
That is
around
fun,
and
though.
cutting
That
off
is fun.
heads is a lot of fun.
That is very fun.
But we want to romance our characters, so create more Alistairs now.
Yeah.